So, welcome to week 4 of Parentalk The Teenage Years. I wonder if you've tried putting any of the top tips from previous weeks into practice. Don't worry if nothing much has changed between you and your teenager. Keep trying and you'll eventually see some differences occurring in your relationship. This week, we're going to be looking at communication and conflict. The teenage years often signal a change in your relationship with your teenager. Once they were eager to share about their day and excited to spend time talking to you, but now they often just grunt at us, or we get one-syllable answers, or they just seem to ignore us. This can cause us to get frustrated, and this can then turn into anger and fights over lots of little things. During the teenage years, our young people are likely to push boundaries, and due to fear over their safety, we can often try to stick rigidly to previous rules, despite the fact that they're now much older. So here's some of this week's top tips for you to think about. Remember that it's normal for parents and teenagers to find it hard to talk to one another. So don't expect too much. A little bit of a conversation, see that as being a real great positive. Negotiating boundaries with them is going to be much more effective than you just trying to stick to rigid rules that you've always had. So think about issues such as them staying out later, for example. It's going to be much more successful if you can have a conversation about why they can justify wanting to stay out for an extra half an hour, and maybe giving that a go and seeing whether they can actually stick to their end of the deal. So it might be, for example, that they say that they're going to text you when they're going to leave the party. It means that they say they're going to be home on time. If they agree 10:30, you might give them 5 or 10 minutes grace. But if they're much later than that, then you're going to have a conversation about how this isn't going to work. So being able to have those conversations means that you can begin to be more flexible in a safe manner. Obviously, if they don't stick to their end of the deal, then you can explain why you're going back to your original curfew. With regards to family rules, decide what is really important to you and your family. You're not going to be able to fight every battle, so pick the important ones. In your family, things like smoking might be a really big deal, and it might be something that you're really, really against. So you might need to have bigger conversations about those sorts of things. It might be that swearing is something that's really important to you and not having that happen. Again, that's where you can have a conversation and decide your consequences for those sorts of behaviours. What is really important during the teenage years is to remember that some of the things that seem big really aren't that important. Think about the things that are really going to have major impact upon their lives and try to focus upon those things. And the final thing is, if you can feel yourself getting angry or wound up, it's important to take a breath or suggest that you have some time out from each other. Giving one another time to think before you talk about the area of conflict will enable you to be more reasonable in your response. So, try this week to create some opportunities to talk and keep trying. You need to find the right time that your teen is receptive. Right in the middle of playing their favourite computer game clearly isn't the right time. Maybe make a date and a time and agree it with your teen. Have a coffee and a cake together or play a game and use that as an opportunity to connect. So, good luck. Hope it goes well. See you next week.